Hello, and welcome to our stream the day before the happiest day of the year, All Hallows Eve, Halloween. Today we are both world building sailing barges on Kethar's Tier, the giant inland sea on Kethar on the Miradolal continent, and Dawn is going to continue to paint this dread necromancer from Bestiarium Miniatures.
Why is it so hard to like transfer from one word to the next in that one? I love the name. It's like a perfect name. There's a couple of sculptors that we have that are like perfect names. That's one of them. Another one is the clay cyanide. Love that name.
Struggle with that one, yeah.
But I struggle with that one. And then DM Stash. It flows right off, but every time I look at it, I don't know why, but it takes me like 5 seconds to realize that it's the DM's stash of shit. and then as soon as it does, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really good. And I giggle every time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to laugh at this. I don't know why, but it tickles me every single time, but it takes me like 3 or 4 seconds to realize what that's actually saying.
And of course we can see that Dawn has the dreary face paint. It matches very well with the dreary weather outside.
And my beautiful little boy. I love him so much.
He's looking really good. So it seems that late last night, Dr. Hackrip finally did what we asked him to do, that we requested him to do.
Ordered him to do.
Helping with the company a little bit, you know. So he started an Instagram. So watch for. He wasn't very nice, though.
He never is, though.
I mean, he mentioned what we asked him to.
I mean, I think I would be cranky too if I had a constant headache.
Probably. Yeah. So yeah, I guess watch for Dr. Peter J. Hackrip's snapshots or reels or something. I don't know. Apparently, well, not apparently. He's supposed to do more than that. So that's also good. Shortly here,
just in case he's listening, I do.
So we've got the poll ready, so I'll release that here in a little while. Probably.
And we have a screen share, so we can show off which ones we're talking about.
Yeah, so we'll get all that going too. I think what we're going to start with now is Dawn painting wonderful dread necro.
Yeah, I'd actually like to kind of go over what exactly happened yesterday. Because we did chat about it, but we were kind of right at the end.
Oh, that's
so
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, Bestiarium made this model, and it was beautiful. And as I was getting him cleaned up and ready, I was kind of dry fitting him to his podium here because it's the bust, and I realized that the stake that they had was super high. I'm like, why would you ever have something that high? The hole where it goes is like really, really super shallow. So I'm like, I was literally talking to Ty going, this is way too high. So
yeah, it looked tall to me.
I clipped it down, and then I dry fit it again, and then I clipped it down, and I dry fit it again, and I clipped it down. So basically I clipped it all the way down to a little tiny stub. I'm like, that's going to be perfect. And then I sat down and we going through the stream, and I wanted to get the base done first because the body is going to be super easier to paint using the base as my actual holder. So I wanted to do that. And then as I was dry fitting, once I had it all ready to go, I realized there was a reason they made the pole so tall. Unlike the other busts that I've painted, which I don't have anyone over here that actually has a separate stand, yes, this is designed by Bestiarium as well. This is what I'm used to, is a tiny little nub and the slot where it goes, and then you attach it, and it sits right up against its face. That's what I'm used to. This one, it is not designed that way. It is supposed to sit super high. It is supposed to be up high. And I realized that when I went to put him on there and basically the only way he would sit, he would cocking off over to the side. So what I did was
hitting the base.
He was hitting the base and it wouldn't sit right. So I was like, oh, yeah, they did it right and I screwed it up. So what I did was he had his staff and it had an extension piece that went underneath and it was about, oh, that little picture is, it was about that much taller and I snipped it off, added it right there, and then took some green stuff, not actual green stuff. It was a different brand, but same thing. It's what I'm used to calling it. I was trying out a different brand, and I think I'm just going to stay with green stuff. This stuff works just as well. It's just a lot harder to get in the right
consistency.
No, not consistent. Well, I mean, it is the consistency, but you have to mix it half and half. It's harder to get this stuff separated from itself to mix it half and half.
Huh.
Green stuff, it's like they have these nice long flat sheets and you just cut and grab it. And this is like these big long tubes that are like this thick and I need a tiny little section of that. So it's really hard to get in and control it for something this small. But anyway, so it's green stuff. It's just like that. So what I did was I added a bunch of vines underneath him and coming out of his, the holes that I had created for him to be hollow when I was 3D printing him. And then I added the post here is his actual staff. And then I added more of the vining going down and around the base so that when he's attached, that was why I didn't think he should be so high, is because looking at the back of him like I would, you could see this and the holes, and I'm like, I don't like that. So adding the vines under here made it to where the back is pretty interesting as well. And to the point of like what Ty was saying yesterday, he's like, well, nobody looks at the back. I'm like, it kind of goes, a really great explanation of that is when we were getting our new embroidery machine brought in and set up, it's an industrial embroidery machine. So we actually had a person come in and teach me how to use this embroidery. For 2 days, we had on-site training. And at one point we had it up and running and he was like, okay, so this is how this works. And he ran a test one. And then he handed me the hoop with the embroidery and I immediately flipped it over and looked at the back of it to see how tight the stitches were on the back, to see if there was any loose threads, any bundles underneath, anything that would be interfering with the inside of something. Because, I mean, one of the things you do is you embroider like on a t-shirt or something like that. I don't want a big ball of thread sitting against my chest in one spot. You know, that would annoy the crap out of me. So I flip it over and I'm kind of inspecting the back and he just is staring at me like really weird. I kind of look up and realize he's just confused. I'm like, did I do something wrong? He goes, no. He goes, I've been doing this for 10 years and you're the only person that has ever flipped it over and looked at how the back looked. I'm like,
that seems weird to me.
I'm like, that's weird. If I'm going to embroider, it's important what the front always looks pretty because that's where all the work is and it has to look pretty. But on the back, if you've got a bunch of loops hanging out and a bunch of crap hanging out, then things are not doing it right. And it will come out. It will not last. So it made perfect sense to me. Bless you.
Oh my gosh. Excuse me.
So, yes, 10 years of doing on-site training and machine maintenance for people, and no one has ever looked at the back when he handed it to me. That's weird. So yes, wow. I will always look at the back. I want to know how a piece looks from all the way around. So, anywho, long story to get to, I made it better. And I technically didn't make it better. What I did was I fixed my mistake because they designed it that way for a reason, and I should have left it alone.
I mean, there are times when we find things and we're like, I did that. Oh, well.
Yeah, and to be fair to myself, this is a brand new sculptor for us.
Yep.
So this was, you know, we always do a test print of somebody before we pick them up. And their test print came out great, but typically I test print with.
Do they have a merchant license?
They do.
We're not merchants for these guys, by the way. That's why we don't have links and stuff saying, "Oh, go get it here."
They do have merchant license, but they are closed.
Oh, I
or see. Whatever it is. So you can find these guys on Patreon. You can find them on My Mini Factory. You can find other people selling their prints. They're phenomenal, and by all means, please check them out. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Done.
I love it.
Actually, what had happened was somebody in our Discord had posted a picture of one of their models that he was painting. And I'm like, oh my dear God, I need this. It needs to be in my life. So I found, he told me who the sculptor was. I went and looked on My Mini Factory, and 4 hours later, we finally stopped shopping their shit. Because they're so freaking, I mean, they're right up our alley, honestly. It's, you know, I love painting. And I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday. It was, I have two modes. I have super cute and fluffy and like the most adorable little thing in the world, or straight up horror, nasty, disgusting. That's it. There's no in between for me. I either want to paint the cutest little freaking thing, or I want to paint something that is like the cutest little thing ever. And they're both adorable to me. It's hi, Nate. I have no in between. That really is all it is. But anyway, absolutely go check them out because their shit is amazing and it's super cute. Oh, did I finish this? So basically, I'm turning all of the rope and vines brown, and I think we're caught up now.
I released the poll.
Yes.
And I dropped the text into Discord for people to sort of look at each one of the options.
You want to do a screen share so we can show off what's in the poll real quick?
Sure, I've got my right. I do not. There we go. So when you go to do your poll, you'll see something like this. And then in Discord, if you want to know a little more information on it other than just what they use, those links to go check out our listings.
So, and then so if you go up to the top, so Tiamat has a couple of different versions. He will be printed at the largest version. Each one of these models will be printed at the largest version because it's a biggie, right? So Tiamat is like 100 mil base, but his freaking wingspan is like 21 inches, something like that. It's crazy.
Huge.
The Ghost Dragon, I have not printed him out yet.
It's a newer modeler for us.
It's a newer modeler for us, but also I believe on our Etsy, his largest is either 75 or 100 mil base. The same thing if you scroll down. Nope, never mind. That being said, if it's a 75, I will upscale it to 100 mil. The Xeno Dragon is actually 160 mil base. So his wingspan is not really much big. More than that. Because, you know, it's big bones and all of that.
This is another one of those ones that's so big that even on the Jupiter is taking us multiple prints.
Yeah. The Solar X one from Mammoth Factory, I believe that one is a 75. So again, I'll upscale it a little bit to 100 mil. But Dracolich, yeah, that's going to be just printed at its full scale. I don't remember. We just got that one. Ty, you were reading it yesterday. The dimensions on that one. I haven't printed that one out either. I printed out his other version, which is the other stance of him where he's like on a rock and his wings are out like this. And that thing is freaking spectacular. Or we have the 5 miniature mystery boxes, which will vary in sizes and everything else, but each one will guaranteed be at least 50 mil. And I honestly doubt that it'll be that small.
And one of them will be
a mystery dice bag.
Mystery bag.
Yes. So that one will be that one we'll have, our typical mystery dice bags set up, which we kind of went over yesterday as well.
Right.
So those are, not that are, or option. Anyway, I'm going to stop making stupid faces. Tra-la-la. I woke up with a headache, so I am struggling to keep focused, if anyone.
I just didn't sleep hardly.
Well, no, but the reason you didn't sleep was at least more fun.
There was lots of noise next door. That's not what happened.
Oh.
That's probably what the neighbors were saying, as I listened to horror movies very loudly. I stayed up late watching horror movies.
Which, like I said, it's a lot better than I stayed up late because I had a bunch of work to do.
Yeah. I did a little bit of work.
Yeah, but it's Halloween. You should be watching.
Yes. Agree with that.
I, on the other hand, managed to get to bed at well, no, that's not true. I was like, hey, if I just do this really quickly, I'll get to bed at a normal time tonight. Actually, a little ahead of schedule. That'll be awesome. 3 hours later, I realized I had taken way too long to do what I was going to do this real quick, sort of thing. Didn't happen.
That was midnight when you went. Pretty normal night.
Unfortunately.
So speaking of, it's close to, we had the wonderful makeup from Dawn. Well, the other wonderful thing we have from Dawn is, me. Last night, I posted the Scarecrow campfire story that Dawn wrote. So you can find that, I guess. I shared it on Discord, but I'll share it here too.
Talk while you type.
You talk while I type.
Ty's typing right now, guys, and I'm going to talk while Ty types.
So I shared the link in there. It's a creepy little campfire story. So that should be fun. I'd like to say that it's just for the season, but no, this was from months ago, and this is just what we do.
You know how sometimes your mind is just like, hey, this is fun. And then it turns and goes somewhere else you didn't expect it. And I don't, like, when Ty's writing, that's what I expect, is creepy and dark. I don't always expect that from myself. And then when it happens, I'm like, hey, that was cool. I did that.
So that's our latest release on cryptmonkey.net as Scarecrow. You can go check that out. Honestly, I hadn't even thought, I mean, of course it's perfect for this season. I hadn't even thought about it until you that one yesterday when we were talking about how people.
Yeah, and it literally just came to my mind because that one really does kind of go into, very briefly but very pointedly, the differences. It's raining and gloomy. It's awesome. I'm so happy. It really kind of goes into the differences in our speech and the words we use and stuff like that. Just on a really quick little note, it doesn't, go on and on. But it was just a conversation that kind of popped up yesterday.
So I don't know if you got to look at Dr. Hackrip's first.
I did, yes.
So I asked him, please, would you go over and start doing this, help us out. Getting the word out, right? So what I asked him to do was, just start letting people know on your own Instagram account about the plane and things like that, right? This is what he wrote. I often wonder at the simpering simps of the human race. I don't know what that is. Anyway.
It's just him. Just let it go. Move past it.
When once I tried to save them, now I only disdain them. Their confidence is false and proves insecurity. Those simple subtractive math you'll find in me. I don't know, is this poetry, maybe? Finally, he says, oh yes, I almost forgot. Crypt Monkey Studios has a project called The Plane. They crowdforge world building with viewers during their stream. You would like to be a part of this new world for stories and tabletop role playing, you should watch them on Twitch. Happy Halloween.
He means any.
Oh, well, I mean, that part was okay, right?
That's the part he doesn't mean.
I don't think so either, because he goes right back to there. I've done what I was instructed. Now I will go check the weather. I hope it's dreary tomorrow. I may step in a puddle.
You already did that.
Not today, though.
No.
How do I do this? See? So any of you guys that are on, oh, there we go. You guys that are on Instagram, if you enjoy Instagram and want to check out what he might do next, Dr. Hackrip, you can find him right there.
Why you would want to, but okay. He is.
Well, he's interesting at a distance. A little frightening up.
Yeah. Amusing to listen to on his rants and raves, but he is not a nice
person. But I don't know. I'm not sure what he's going to do next. I mentioned, do some things like maybe do a Twitter account, Instagram.
There are ways that we can influence what he's going to do next. Just FYI, in case.
But he still told me no. No, I'm not going on Twitter. I'll do an Instagram and a TikTok videos. I mean, he was born in like the 12th century. Anyway, I'll do an Instagram and TikTok videos and maybe MyTube. I said YouTube. It's YouTube. That's in proper English. It's MyTube.
Not like he's not an intelligent being. Just doesn't get nowadays. Anyway, let's moving along.
Yes, well, I'm just saying I don't know what he's going to do next. Might be YouTube or TikTok video.
Stop saying that. You're going to make me say it on accident. Stop saying it.
TikTok videos.
Stop it.
Videos.
I hate you.
So we got to keep. Are you kind of down to start?
I'm good, yeah.
So, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be...
Hi, Golden.
Hello, Ghosty. And that got me. Still, it's not loud enough because I don't think I got you.
No, it did. But...
Boo! How's everyone doing, Ghosty says.
I'm actually... I need makeup. I'm actually getting really good at just when I'm startled like that, I'm good at just freezing. Instead of jumping, I'm just freezing.
Yeah, I tense up and then my muscles get sore. So today we are going to be working on world building for sailing barges. We're going to say on Kethar's tier, but sure that there'll be other geographical areas that we end up doing this with. This is just the largest inlet.
No tolerance to the duck ever. No, that's not a thing, Golden. It's just simply like my body is just like I just literally freeze. My hands instead of jumping like I normally do. And here's the thing: is if I didn't have a paintbrush in my hand near it, I would have jumped. And I still do jump whenever you guys get me when I'm not painting. But when I'm actually painting, my body locks. Like, no, don't screw it up. So it still makes me like mentally go, ah!
So it's like fear on fear. You've gotten jump scared and afraid you're gonna mess up the piece.
Yep, exactly. So.
Well, so today we're talking about sailing barges, and I've got notes started. Let me. Yeah, looks good.
I was
done.
see, I've got my little purple square, and what that means is, what I figured out was this is not where I should hold it. What I should do is hold it to where I can see my little purple square right next to my model. That's where, because I messed up where the square was, or it's one of those things where I made the square and then I hit that guy like 15 times, and now the square's not aligned.
You said square so many times now. I want a hamburger.
I want a big.
From Wendy's?
Well, no. From every time I go to Wendy's, the only thing I ever get from there is their chicken nuggets because I love them.
And a frosty. So as I have pretty much our normal section for these notes on sailing barges, I've got culture, gear, flora, fauna, weather, miscellaneous. There's always something I don't think about, right? But on top of that, I've added one since this is the subject. I thought it'd be fun, and we don't have to fill it, but I thought it'd be fun if somebody comes up with an idea. Under culture, I have famous barges and why. So it could be barges that are no more and the story behind it, or it could be, you know, a barge that's been through that sort of thing several times and always survives.
I like the cautionary tale ones better. Like, don't do this because they did this and they died.
Right.
You know, but I grew up in the generation where your parents said, if you don't look both ways before you cross the street, you're going to get by a car and die.
Isn't that should be every generation? What are you talking about?
Well, here's my problem with it, because we're going to get distracted for 5 seconds. Kids are invincible and they think of themselves as immortal. So if you tell a kid, if you don't look both ways, you're going to get hit by a car and die, like, I won't die. But if you tell a kid, if you don't look both ways, and you're going to get hit by a car and it's going to hurt like hell, they're like, oh, I don't like getting hurt. I'll look both ways. It's more real in their head. Like, you'll break your arm, you'll get hit by a car.
Because they've experienced it.
Yeah. You know, you'll get actually physically hurt. I mean, you may die, but that doesn't scare a child. They're like, I bounce, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, I guess I get that. I mean, I used to jump off cliffs and stuff, so.
And then you grew up and realized you could die, so you don't.
Well, I kept doing it after I realized I could die. I stopped doing it when I realized I've got kids now and I could die. It's sort of like Raising Hope, that episode where they're climbing the tower and he's like, I don't think we should keep going.
Yeah.
Ghosty says, so what is the primary purpose of the barges, or are we still deciding? No, I mean, it's what I think most people would imagine, though. If you have specialty ideas, then we can absolutely talk about that too. But the primary use of them is that they are vessels for moving people and cargo. And they're barges that sail because they're super big, rather wide. They do that just to get as much out of every trip as they can, really, because of the amount of time that it takes.
You want to pull up the map?
Oh, yeah, let me.
So we can kind of, because if you think about it, like trying, you know, you're over here at Longshore and you need to be on the other side of Cathar's Tier. Well, you can walk around or you can go across. Across is much faster. So even going from like north to south, having to walk around that thing would take, I mean, have you ever walked around one of our oceans? That's how big that is.
Yeah, and you figure that,
I mean, I know you can't hear.
There's some groups that may travel across land 24 hours. They've devised ways of doing that. Most groups, most people have to stop at night and figure out a way to either hide or shore themselves up, right? And on the inland sea of Cathar's Tier, for example, they just keep going. You know, it's dangerous too, but they just keep going. So that makes a trip from, you know, one side of Cathar's Tier to the other faster as well.
Yeah.
Ghosty says, Okay, well, if they are transporting cargo, I mean, of course, there's going to be pirates, right?
Oh yes, yeah, that's
Absolutely.
definitely a thing.
That's going to be. You know what? No, that should be a cultural thing. It's people, right? So there is definitely that. Oh, I should. Well, let me do this. What were you wanting to show exactly on the map? Because I feel like I skimmed it.
I just wanted to pull it up and kind of describe, show like Kethar's tier. I mean, it's this tiny little portion of Kethar, but
Oh yeah, it's pretty.
it's as big as one of our oceans. And I'm not, talking about the Mediterranean Sea. I'm talking about like the
Bigger
Pacific,
than the Atlantic.
So
we got to do a bunch of math on all of this stuff eventually, but for all I know, Earth could fit in that sea. I don't know.
Right, it's an enormous place. So I know, like looking at the map, there's no,
Yeah, so
distinguishing thing for us to compare it to Earth, but
we know that like if you start out
excuse me,
here on the outer edge of Longshore and you start traveling for the plateau, it takes you 10 years to get to about here. So if that takes 10 years, then it takes years, a couple of years probably, to go across this sea, traveling all.
yeah. So that's all I wanted to bring it up for, was to specifically show that kind of, give that feel of the reason that people are taking these really long boat trips.
This could be an interesting idea, Dawn. So the main reason you have these really big vessels is because you want to get the most out of a long journey, right? So I hadn't thought about this, but Ghosty says, how about fishing barges, anything like that? A fishing vessel isn't going to be out long, right? Maybe a couple of months at most, if they've got ways to ice down fish, right? But if you're doing that with a barge, why are you doing that with a barge? What are you catching, right?
Right. So, in answer to, ways of freezing, we've already talked about people doing taking fish and turning it into jerky.
Yeah.
Which drastically increases the amount of time. So, one, you've got this huge barge, right? So maybe what you have is this area where this is where all the fishing happens, and then you have a big area where this is where you make the jerky, and this is another area where you're storing the jerky. Because jerky takes up a lot of space. If you literally like just fillet a fish and then hang it and smoke it, that takes up a lot of space to do that. But you could get a lot, like just having these really giant tall racks where you're hanging all your fish. But that takes up a huge portion to dry it like that, right? But then you've got just laying it flat, put a piece down, laying it more on top, where air can, make sure it gets in there, but it's still, the storage of it would be sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets of like a drying rack, just so I think a barge, one of these bigger barges, could be out there for months on end.
They're basically a floating factory on top of.
Exactly the point. This is my fishing barge, but this is also where I process it all. So they come back in and they're like, here you go. Here's, 6 months worth of jerky that we, 6 months, we made jerky for 6 months. And then they just turn around, go right back out. So the other thing that I was thinking about specifically is the whole thing where, what is it? Scurvy, right?
Yeah, where you need fruit.
Where you need like fruit and veg, that's the really hard thing. So I would think that they would have some sort of, all of these barges would have some sort of area that they were growing, not just grabbing things and packing them with them, but like literally growing plants.
Okay.
So like a hydroponics kind of area, but it's got to be large enough to feed the crew.
I'm gonna put that under fauna, actually.
So that was like legit, like the first thing that I thought of was we need some sort of hydroponics area on this barge so that regardless of what you pack, because I'm sure you will pack some.
I mean, that's one nice thing about it being in a freshwater inland sea, right? Is at least water is very important. At least you don't have to, you may have to figure out ways of cleaning your water or something, but don't have to worry as much about getting water.
Right.
Or extracting salt from that. So a hydroponic plant, you're going to use a lot of water for that sort of stuff too.
Yeah, so to me it seems like something that we can, you know, maybe there's a pumping system that it's just a hose that goes down and gathers water, and that's what comes in and mists the plants. You know, so you basically, you have one hose that goes down and is getting the water, and then you have another hose that's draining like off the back or something that, you know, as it mists and everything, you know, you've got just like what we do in our house in a basement, where the basement all kind of slopes in this area to the drain hole. So it slopes down.
You're talking about like a gravity or pressure pump kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Ghosty says, if there's an ocean as big as Earth, well, there's gonna be some pretty damn big creatures, don't you think? Creatures that'd eat kraken and sushi. Yes. Yeah. And maybe that's another reason that these ships are so big. This isn't the kind of like really outlandish, like, oh, it's a ship as big as a city. We have those now, right? But because these are still big wooden sailing vessels, right? But they are, I would say, as big as a small town. They're really, really big.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of the reason, is just because of once you really start getting out there, it can get pretty dangerous if you're too small of a ship. So the other ships that are smaller, they're probably best. Next guess. We can talk about that another time.
Okay.
We could talk about it now if you want.
Well, I was going to say, I like that immediately made me think of a specialty ship where it's made to go super fast. It's made to explore and map the tier, you know, and it's it's one of those.
There's islands and stuff out there,
right? So
there's
it's
like
one
whole communities out in the middle of the sea.
It's one of those specialty ships that we were talking about. Of like this one is named, you know, for being the fastest cartographer ship, and it's, you know, it's the one that it's famous because it's mapped more of the area, more of the tier than anybody else, that sort of thing.
Have a name for it?
I don't. Speedy McGee. I'm bad at names.
Or say this is a cartography ship.
Yeah, and I like the idea of like, so like bamboo grows super, super quick, right? I like the idea of calling it some sort of plant name of something like bamboo that grows really, really quick. Because it's made of wood, so, and then it's also the fastest ship.
Weeds grow fast. That's what people think of when they garden and stuff, is how fast the damn weeds grow. Maybe.
Sprouted up like a weed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to call it like the dandelion.
Weed on the tier or something like that.
No.
Cathar's weed.
No. No.
I guess that starts to reach into something else.
It does. That's why I'm giggling. So no, nothing like that. But you know what
I did add the note that under your bit there, Dawn Ghosty said they are like traveling homestead type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gotta survive, so pretty much, right? Okay, anyway.
I mean, we don't have to name it, but I want something along those lines. I think works really well because, like you said, it's going to be made of wood, so. But it needs to be a tough name, and bamboo is not a tough name.
Excuse me.
See, and to Ghosty, to that point, Ghosty says, what about a battleship type class, slightly smaller, faster warships that try to cut down on piracy, probably only like 5 of them in the whole ocean, but something like that. I would even think that somebody who has a lot of money, they've got one of the biggest, the best ships, they even employ one of these battleships to just stay with them. So it's a traveling thing.
Yeah, I was going to say these guys some of them are so rich that if it's the right company, they may have 5 or 6 of these ships on their own.
Yeah. And then for smaller ships.
Oh, that's a separate thing. Go ahead, babe.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is like, yeah, the mercenary. Yeah, exactly, Golden. It's like, as soon as you say something, I'm like, oh! But no, like, even having some of these, some of the ships that are like, you know, we're just getting started out, that sort of thing. They could even be like, hey, you're just getting started out, and we're just getting started out, and you're going that way, and I'm going, we go together? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of like
convoys,
convoys sort of thing, not carpooling, but convoys, to kind of like, you know, maybe don't attack the 5 ships together. You know?
Yeah, you figure like the how to say this? These more military-like vessels are probably not going to go out to the middle of the tier unless they have a reason.
Right.
So they're going to go a few months out and protect people on their way out, with the idea that pirates probably only want to, you know, they want to make it as easy on themselves as they can. So they may only go a few months out, and that's why they do it. Then there could be specialized stories where we have pirates that are like, all right, it's getting too hard to do it here. We're going to move another 6 months out and see what we can catch. Ghosty said bright minds.
Yeah, that's what I was giggling about. Yeah.
That is fun. Yeah, and then, I mean, on top of that, you could see other zones of maybe security, right? Because there are islands here and there. Those islands may have a ship or two that sort of go around them to help people get in and out. Yeah, that's fun. It's still bugging me that we can't think of a name.
Well, I'm literally going to Google plants that grow super fast and look through the list and see what name works for me. But yeah, I'm not really good at coming up with names on the spot anyway, so it doesn't surprise me that I...
General note for fauna. Oh, for flora. Oh, for fauna. I put that flora stuff under fauna. It was a late night. Fixed it.
Yay.
All right. Ghosty says, okay, I've got an idea for a famous type ship.
Yay.
Could have a name like the Vindication or something like that. Something like that, but it's like a notoriously deadly and ruthless battleship that's been known to almost seek out pirates rather than just guard ships. I like that. Maybe it's real, maybe it's just a tall tale to deter pirates. That's really interesting.
I like that a lot for multiple reasons. One, it's just fun. But 2, like it's that deterrent of, would you really want to be a pirate? Because you're going to get them. The Vindication's coming after you. And then it's the story of, oh, well, you know, they were paid to escort this barge, right? And nothing happened. So they got bored. They traveled for 6 months, didn't see a single pirate. They were annoyed. And so, yeah, they went hunting. So I see a lot of areas to play with that.
Ghosty says like kind of like the Black Pearl from the Pirates, the Caribbean. That's what I was thinking of. Is the British vessel that's actively searching them out and searching out the Black Pearl, right? Yeah, I like that. I really like the idea that maybe it's real or maybe it's just a tale that pirates tell each other. It's their campfire story, right? That they're like, you won't believe this.
Oh, it's real. I saw it.
There's a vessel hunting us out there.
I really like the idea of coming up with a pirate song. I love that pirate song from from the movie. I mean, I know it's not from the movie. I know it's older than that, but
See, now that I found this old guitar over here, I can I'll finish that folk song for the plane, and then I'll can look at building a or a sailor song.
yeah.
Bad eggs.
Trying to focus, but
You take something?
I did, yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to add a note. We can we can delve into some specialized equipment for like fishing bar stuff because their framework is going to look pretty much the same, right? But their deck will look different. It kind of a different setup. Obviously, they still have to like run around the same stuff. But then once you go below deck,
Yeah.
I can imagine it. Like I'm sure that they would do like you guys mentioned, jerky and stuff like that for smaller catches. But I just feel like they're trying to catch big things.
I think they would do jerky for the big stuff too.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm just saying.
Kraken jerky.
That was your first thought was a processing plant, and my
Yeah.
thought is it's got to be you need a vessel this big in order to get your catch that's that big. It's in the wrong. I'm thinking things like cranes, kind of some of the stuff that we use now. You know, when they seen those where they're doing like big fishing.
Well, I'm kind of thinking like the crabbing
Oh yeah,
things, where they go out and they throw those big things too, you know. So I'm gonna let you finish that, and then I have a question.
it's like what's the name of that show? Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
Hey, you have a question, Dawn?
I do. Would we have brought any marine animal with us to Cathar? What would we have taken?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
I asked a question. I deserve the answer.
Uh, I'm sure that they brought some. I guess if you're suggesting that they might be in Kethar's tier, we'd really have to figure out how that happened.
Well, no, and I'm
Considering
not.
they were, a decade away. Tier. Cataclysm.
Yeah, no, I'm more of like, did somebody bring a pet goldfish and
Get like in a stream and work its way down.
right, and now
Generationally work its way down to the tier.
yeah, now it's mutated, bred with, so it looks like a goldfish, but it acts like a shark.
We bring a. I can't even type. That's so funny. Do we bring a goldfish? That. I'm a shark now.
So, okay, like koi, right? Not technically a goldfish, but a koi fish is more streamlined like a shark, right? So, and maybe this isn't something that we brought with us. Maybe it's just, it was already there. Oh, Ghosty, I love that. I'm done. Go ahead and read it.
Well, first of all, I think it's a cool idea. It's if we think about it generationally, then I can definitely get on board with something that's changed Earth. Ghosty says, "Oh, okay. So maybe there's a subclass of fishing ships that specifically for hunting those massive sea creatures. Most fishing ships will hunt like small to medium sea creatures, but these ships only go for the behemoth." Yeah, but I would also say that the processing plant thing also works. That they're getting those sort of normal size ships, and they're only going like a month out or something like that. But they catch a lot and to process a lot to sell a lot. You know, back. I guess fishing. Ghosty says, or maybe some creatures have specific organs or pieces of them that are only harvestable when the creature is alive. So a specific class of fishers will jump onto the massive sea monsters and harvest those organs while it's alive. Obviously, it's super dangerous, but pays super well. Holy cow. There's a story in that, isn't there? That is terrifyingly fun.
Yeah, because you know when you start delving into ocean voyages, which is what these are.
Yeah.
You know you're going to get the Moby Dick stories, going to get the Fisherman's Tale. So there is a huge realm there of amazing and awesome things.
Got to get a cup of coffee. Flip you over to painting while I go grab that.
I'm noticing a few little spots that I thought were teeth for these heads, but not actually. They're leftover supports. That's better. Like all of this stuff I can get done while he's not on his base, but for painting his cloak, I definitely want. I'm a little concerned if I don't get him on there nice and right, then I may, as I'm dry brushing, knock him off. But we'll figure that out when we get there. There's plenty of areas to hold on to him for doing like these skulls and stuff back here.
What do you mean there's plenty of areas to hold on to just because he's
because of the size he is, and the skulls are only up here, so it's not like this piece I can hold this and paint this whole rock, but then when I'm ready to paint down here, I can flip it over and hold it, or I can just put the whole damn thing on a stand and paint the whole thing and not worry about having to move my hands around. For doing the ropes and the skulls, having him in my hand here, he rolls around. The only thing is I keep catching right here, but that's just not a big deal to me.
I think I heard that one.
Yeah.
Popping on your glove.
Yeah, it's done it a few times. It's just not a big deal. so I don't mind. Like I said, for doing his cloak, I definitely want to have him on his stand so that I've got a clean grip on him. Everything is good and out of the way. But for this, I am a little concerned that I'm going to put him on his stand and I'm not going to be able to dry brush him. But I'll get to that when I get to it, basically. The moment I'm just moving around the areas I need to move around on. You know, I just realized we haven't started up our music. I'm gonna have to fix that. It's Halloween. Just saying, you didn't put music on today.
Oh. We don't usually on these days.
We did last week.
Did we? I can do that. Give me
Halloween.
it.
That kind of,
Not what?
not that kind of music. Disney movie.
Is it? I thought it was. Well, I guess they own Pixar's. And what's your point with that? Still, this is Halloween. I mean,
I know, but I want proper scary music, but this is at least slightly scarier than that.
it starts out loud. I don't know.
It's
I have to turn it way down, and obviously I'm watching videos all the time when I'm not on stream, so the volume gets set back up. Where's my thing? There we go. Hey, we have music. Halloween music. Sounds too loud.
It might be a little too loud. It was
It's
just
hard to get it down.
It was just very quiet when you walked away. 'Cause I'm intently painting. I think so.
I don't even know if we've ever asked anybody if you guys can hear the music. Or if it's too loud or anything like that. Because I'm just guessing on looking at the bars. I'm not monitoring what's going out in it. Deal with it.
No, answer the question. And it's not too loud, Golden?
So the interesting thing about our crowd forging subject this weekend, as we've mentioned for the first time yesterday, I think, that when we test Fate, you guys agreed that you wanted to play a game, Sailors on Tier. So we are actually loading the gun.
Yeah.
That I'm going to shoot them with at the moment.
Nope, you won't.
Okay, good.
There's no gunpowder.
Well, there's real weapons. Shoot you with. Oh my gosh, that whale's got a rail weapon. That was hard to say. That whale has a rail weapon.
I am finding it very difficult to focus.
So yeah, we've So far, the bullets I have in my gun certainly include pirates.
That laughter was perfectly timed.
So you've got pirates, but then you also have mistaken identity. What if this may be real, maybe not real mercenary ship shows up and thinks you're pirates? You know, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with that too.
Yeah.
Vicious people who are supposed to be doing the right thing. Ghosty says, wrestle the rail weapon from the whale. I think that was meant to be harder.
Would not have gotten that out.
Wrestle the rail weapon from the whale. I don't know. I was thinking it'd be harder if you said, like, wrestle the whale from the rail weapon. I say that right?
Yeah.
Wrestle the whale from the rail weapon.
Wrestle the rail.
I should speak for a little.
Wrestle the rail weapon from the whale. Yeah.
I don't remember that thing on Ghosts. Something burnt the butter. Something burnt the butter, but the butler.
The butler burned the bacon.
The butler burnt the bacon, but the butter
Took the brunt.
took the brunt. Is it?
I don't remember exactly.
Or the brunt.
For the brunt. That's what it is.
Butler boat.
The butler burned the bacon, but the butter took the brunt.
You did it wrong again.
I know.
Butter burnt the bacon, but the
butler.
butter bore the brunt.
You said the butter.
It is the butter on the second part.
The first part, you said the butter burned the bacon.
No, the butler burnt the bacon, but the butter bore the brunt.
God damn it!
Now I want to. He says it so fast on the show too. Oh, anyway. Was that a tangent or the progression of the conversation?
Tangent.
What if you had said it?
Massive tangent.
Okay.
I think I've already made it clear I'm having a lot of trouble focusing today.
Shit. Okay, here Ghosty's got one. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter, so Betty... Damn, the screen jump. So Betty bought a bit of better butter, and the better butter was better than the bitter butter Betty bought before. Son of a fuck.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter, so Betty bought a bit of butter better. I was doing so well. Damn it. I was doing so freaking
Betty
well.
bought a bit of butter. A better butter. Shit.
Oh my god, I was doing really, really well. Okay. Okay. Focus. Like I'm gonna paint an eyeball. I really did think I was gonna get...
I don't know why that tickled me, but...
I really thought I was gonna get it golden. Okay. I'm gonna try this again.
Oh shit.
Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter, so Betty bought a bit of better butter, and the butter better. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! It's the better butter going twice right there. I couldn't get it.
Ooh, he thought you had it.
I really, yeah, I did too. I really thought I had it. Okay, one more. This is gonna happen. Betty, shut up. Ah. Betty bought a bit of butter, but nope. Okay, that's it. It got worse from the very start. I'm done. I lost.
Ghosty says, me and my brother used to have challenges on who could say the one faster, and now I say it all like supersonic speed. Wow.
So, me and my sister Heather used to, well, we still do occasionally. We would say a line from a movie. Okay, so that's something that I got really good at, was being able to recall a movie from a simple line. So yeah, no, we didn't test each other with that. We tested each other with movie lines from movies.
Me and my brother used to punch each other.
Yeah, well, you're an asshole. Hell, I got so good at it, half the time I could name the movie without ever having seen the movie.
Just from trailers and stuff.
Trailers and stuff like that.
Oh my. Yeah, you said that eyeball thing, and my coffee went down the wrong pipe. Coffee down the wrong. I don't even remember what subject we were.
Pirates.
No.
I would actually like to discuss the animals that are in the tier.
That's what I was trying to get at. Is I need these bullets.
The weather.
Attacking you.
No.
Weather. Yep. We haven't talked about that. I added geography in case we wanted to be specific with islands.
So, you know how on Earth there's rogue waves, right?
Oh yeah.
So what if there is a wave? It's not a rogue wave. Everybody knows it's coming, and they know when it's coming. It's a very steady, and it's a huge fucking wave, and they plan for it. They're like, hey guys, you're parked over there, but you got about 3 months before this wave comes through. You can't be here in 3 months, dude. You got to move.
Because it's a tidal wave. They have 6 moons. Ooh.
And it's, you know,
I'm gonna put it under
10 stories high. It's a very planned thing.
So it can be like our storm where it's traveling a path.
Yeah, it travels its path. It does its thing, but you know you need to get the F out of the way. So that also lends into daredevils who think they can handle it, and also leads into that ship that tried to make it and didn't. Yes, Golden, a really big wave pool.
Ghosty says, Ty, me too. This is about me and my brother punching each other. My brother and I just slapped each other in the face over and over again, and it the most fun we could have for no reason. I really contribute that to why we act the way we do now. I would say the same, except oftentimes we were not kidding. we were going at it. We're very different people, but now we get along great.
Still very different people, but get along.
Oh yeah. I mean, I loved him then, I love him now, but now we don't punch each other anymore. Things are less expensive that way. Also, he's bigger than me, so... My little brother's bigger than me.
All of my siblings are... including Sawdust.
Huh?
He may be right at the same height. I think he actually is an inch shorter than me, or like maybe like half an inch shorter than me. But I got him on weight too, so.
Well, he's got us because he can ride a unicycle. How to use it.
Yeah, but I could kick his ass. Well, no, I couldn't actually kick his ass because he has spurts. But I have seen his shadow kick his ass.
I've seen video of it. All right, so there's a tidal wave. Continuously takes the same path and has to be avoided. It's 10 stories tall. Got distracted there. I like that for weather. What do you know about all the filth that's going on here? You know what we could do for weather is a smaller version of our continuous storm. There's a part of Cathar Sea, and I don't know where we'd put it.
There's nothing that can stop him.
Oh. Add to that.
Thinking. Oh, it's not showing my.
Damn it. Heck is killing me.
Something happened. There we go. We got it back. Thinking something like this, Dawn. Like around this area, that there's just that it's storming even when it calms down. Might be that you get close to it still a storm, just less violent. And it kind of sticks around an area like this and probably affects a great deal of the lake anyway, depending on its course. It may send out actual rogue waves or something, right?
Right.
Ghosty says, I'm 8 years younger than my brother, but I'm about 6 inches taller than him. Have either of you guys seen the show Love, Death, and Robots? It clicks.
Yes.
Love it. I think we've talked about that on here before. With Ghosty.
I don't remember.
It would have been a long time ago, but yes, we love that.
So I was thinking, you know, a precursor to any storm that's not like the normal, that area is always stormy, right? So there's this part of the thing that happens on Kethar's Tier. If there's a storm coming, you get dead calm for like 3 days before a storm. So it's warning you. And it's just part of the way the atmosphere works on Kethar's Tier.
The storm's a few days out and it's pulling all the energy away from where you are now.
Exactly. So you know, you've heard these sailing stories of the dead calm where they're just literally stuck. They cannot move because there's no propulsion, there's no wind. It's just dead calm. So if you have dead calm for at least 18 hours, you know you've got a massive storm coming. And the amount of time can definitely be altered. I'm just throwing out random.
Well, that also, while you were saying that, I was thinking too that, let's say the worst storms that come they aren't even necessarily like, they have storms that blow in off from the land, but sometimes that continuous storm may just like give birth to a storm that starts traveling across.
Yeah. Yes, Golden, I definitely do. That was so bad. I mean, it was a good kind of bad, but it was,
Do you guys remember the episode Bad Traveling about the pirate type people fighting the crab? That could be some good creatures. Yeah, that was, I love that one. That one's brutal.
Ugh. The way the crab talked.
Yeah, that was some of the new ones, right, from this new season. I still really like the one from the first season where they're just farmers with the mechs.
Oh, I loved that one. That was definitely.
And you realize at the end they're in those domes on a different planet. It's amazing.
Hope you guys have all seen it.
Yeah, I didn't really think before I spoke to. It's the first season, though. I mean, there's a little bit of a time thing on here.
Yeah, you know, like I went to see the movie Titanic for the boat system because I wanted to see the boat sink, and got yelled at because I ruined the end of the movie.
Yeah, there's the other moratorium: is if it's an actual historical thing and you just don't happen to know that that's what happens at the end. Tough shit. Open a book.
That really is a true story. That actually did happen to me. I got yelled at for ruining the end of Titanic.
Ghosty says, I still love the Monster Fight Pit episode. I'd love to see a second one. Is that the one where it's like Russian soldiers with the big insect things or whatever? They're up in the snowy mountains. I think probably it's supposed to be into the 19th or beginning of the 20th century. Was a good one. But I could be missing. I mean, I've seen them all. I just am not recognizing it on the Russian one stuck in. But when you say Monster Fight Pit, then you know where my head goes, Dawn? Loving monsters. No, the one where like the people control the monsters. Oh, there's like the rock monster and the reptile monster. I think I do know the one you're talking about is with the woman, or like gangsters or whatever, walking down the hallway thing with them. That is a good one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, I like that one too. That's another first season. Oh.
I remember that one now. Yeah, that was taking me a few minutes.
Rate some briefly.
Don't forget to vote on the poll. Put a link in Discord.
Got one, a link in Discord, and then I'll put one here too.
We're reiterating. I don't remember the time frame, if you said one. How long it's open?
We're going to leave it open until Saturday's stream.
Okay.
Next Saturday.
So,
Announce which one won.
Well, here's what I would prefer to do is leave it open through Saturday's stream and we'll announce it on Sunday.
Okay, we can do that.
Let's do it that way.
Next Sunday. So that's a full week then.
Yeah, and that also gives people a little bit, another reminder too of like, okay, hey guys, one more chance.
There is a link to the Campfire Story Scarecrow, which you very likely already read, Ghosty, but for anybody else, I mean, a lot of the stuff we write is good for Halloween anyway, but hey, this one's good for Halloween too.
And we will be doing, I specifically will be doing the audio for that one, for when we put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, and that reminds me, so we're going to have, Gareth's actually going to do the audio for his lines, and we're going to do the audio for Wellfinder Gareth and the Golden Cop. That's going to be interesting. I got to do the work to actually pull out all the lines he needs. Ghosty is going to step away and be right back. Absolutely. I like how I say absolutely, like I will allow it. That is, we look forward to your return. How's that?
I will allow it.
I don't know why it makes sense coming. Yeah, I guess that's it.
You were going to reiterate and I interrupted you.
Those were the things I wanted to read.
Oh.
Let's talk. Well, I mean, should we talk some more about fauna? Do you have anything in particular that you want to hit on that one? Dang, I got another sneeze coming. I love the weather, but damn. Your fall every spring. This has been a bad fall, too.
Yeah.
For me. And Izzy, too, I think.
Yeah, it is pretty.
So, you were starting to get into the fauna, and I don't know if it was just the koi thing. I thought you wanted to talk some more about it after that.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see some sort of, and maybe it's not something that got brought. Maybe it's just something that was always there, but some sort of like, you know how here on Earth we have koi dragons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a thing, but let's make it a thing. So let's say that there are actually koi dragons. They're basically a giant koi serpent, dragon-ish body that has shark teeth, and it lives in Cathar's Tier.
Love the addition of the shark's teeth.
Well, why wouldn't it?
Think of a reason. Yeah, I like that. I know one thing we've already talked about, but I'll just mention it. One of the things that you see occasionally out here could be the giant turtles. Will travel in salt or fresh water.
Salmon. That's something that we would have brought with us.
Okay, but the fish thing is hard too, though. So stories for eating. We're not like the chickens and cows and horses and stuff could be easy to explain because they just scattered, right?
Right.
But we have to be specific, I think. Aquatic creatures.
Okay.
I agree that we would have brought those. I guess my only problem is.
So we set up, when we arrived, we set up hydroponic farms for salmon, right?
Uh-huh.
Because it's not only good, it's sustainable through hydroponics. It's also something that is really good for us to eat. So, and on Cathar, there's giant birds. We already know this. So it would be simple enough for them to pick up a fish, come down, grab a fish. Maybe they grabbed a pregnant one and they flew over. And as they're flying over these other rivers and streams, maybe one got dropped and, it was pregnant. And then so it traveled from there. And then another bird picked up one that got born in this river. And it, you see how the migration can actually happen through just naturally birds eating them. Let's say that they swim down or come down, grab one, and it's pregnant, right? And it goes over to this area, and it's sitting on a rock next to a stream where it's eating this fish. It's just naturally dropping all the roe out while it's eating.
Okay.
So I can explain it really quickly. There you go.
Well, I know how you are about aquatic stuff.
Well, I know.
You can't bring all of the Earth's sea.
No, that's why I said, what would we have brought? What makes sense?
Uh-huh.
Salmon is a really healthy fish for us to eat.
That I know we use use koi and salmon for hydroponic gardens, right?
Right. So it makes perfect sense that we would have brought it with us. That's what, because yeah, you're right. I would literally just pack the ocean.
Yeah.
Just bring all that shit with us. I would bring a dolphin. Why would we, though? What would be the legitimate reason to bring a dolphin? What would be the legitimate reason to bring a killer whale, a shark, any of these things? Why would we pack them? Other than to bring them along, which would be really hard to do.
Welcome back, Ghosty.
So, yes, I would absolutely pack every single possible animal with me. I can't make up a reason why we would. So I can make a reason for a salmon. I can make a reason for koi. Chickens, all of these things I can make up. I mean, I can come up with a reason why we would. Maybe we brought the DNA of some of these other animals, but that would have been lost in the cataclysm. And
a lot, like almost everything was lost in that. So.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, say that, they had a bunch of vials of DNA and they got lost in the cataclysm, and then this other animal came by and ate the vial of DNA for sharks. It wouldn't make him have any shark aspects. That's not how DNA works. So, but that being said, there should have already naturally evolved something along the lines of a shark in Cathar, or in this world anyway. If you have prey, you're gonna have predators.
And it's Cathar, so they're gonna be
horrible.
Larger than the megalodon, right?
You know that, what is it? A sulfur layer?
Talking about in the
The-
island holes, or the, can't think what they're called.
Can't either right now.
The blue.
Blue hole?
Yeah, that's one of them, right?
Yeah.
Mesoamerica. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think where they actually swam down below the hydrogen sulfide
Yeah, that's what it
layer.
is. We should put something like that in here.
Okay, hold on. We're gonna have to talk about that. Creatures bigger than. Home back to that, right? So get this note in quick. Ghosty says, what about sea turtles that carry all kinds of dirt on their backs? So they are kind of like moving islands, pretty much water versions of the land turtles. Yeah, and if they're that big and they're the same sort of gentle nature, maybe you got people trying to stay on them. There'd be problems with that though, because they go underwater eventually, right? That could be really fun. A whole culture of like they've devised a way to like even when they go down below, they've tied off and they have flotation devices for their town or something, or village. They just get drug along behind until the turtle comes back to the surface. Crypto says, just because we do not eat the animal as a main food source here would not mean the killer whale could be food, oil for machinery, and bones for utility processes. I mean, that's a good point too, that it has like other purposes other than food.
No, it does, but it would be very difficult to take along.
I'm taking this note anyway.
No, I don't disagree, because any way I can justify taking any of them.
Well, when I have questions about this sort of stuff, about what we brought from Earth, well, you know, the first question is always like, how did it survive, right? But the second thing is, it's not a question. It's just the fact that, you know, they would have probably been coming here to use what was already here too, right? A lot of the stuff I think they brought might have been journey-based stuff. Now, that doesn't mean that this question doesn't still make sense, right?
Yeah.
It could be that they're like, well, look, we have to have a way of producing these oils, for instance, right? Or lubrication on the ship.
Well, and that's kind of what I was saying.
And hello, Creepshow.
Hi. It makes sense that what makes really sense for traveling and everything else, that they would have had a huge stockpile of DNA from everything, because we're literally traveling to make a new world. We're doing all of these things. I'm sure we can get DNA and take it somewhere and reproduce the animal from that DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense that they would take a seed bank of animals. So yes, we had the ability to bring back the killer whale when we got here. We'd be able to make them grow again, right? To reproduce them. But that was lost in the cataclysm.
That was lost in the cataclysm. And why would we do it? Because we're coming to a planet that we suspect is going to have its own life and stuff. And we don't want to, like, think about the kudzu vines down in the south.
Yeah.
The terribly invasive plant species just trying to take over the south. When you drive down the road down there, they just covered on both sides. So I want to say at least that a lot of these things would either have a mechanical purpose, a travel purpose, and not necessarily, even though we still have horses on Cathar. I don't know. Maybe they did bring that just because they already knew, well, we have these guys domesticated.
Yeah,
and ride them, you know. I don't know.
That's kind of my point.
And I'm not saying no to all or any of this. I'm just saying I want to be smart about how we introduce why, right?
Well, and that's what I'm saying is, like, we could legitimately say that they had a massive DNA bank because they'd be able to just at the drop of a hat reproduce anything that they could have possibly needed from that DNA bank, right? And a DNA bank doesn't take up that much room.
Right.
They can bring it along. It's not heavy. It's not any of this. So having that was like a safety net. And why would they? Because they're scientists and that's what they do.
I guess, yeah.
The why is not actually why would we, but why wouldn't we with scientists? Why wouldn't we attempt this? So all of those things were always a possibility. It's just been lost. So it's something that could be rediscovered later. Probably the DNA is wrecked by now, but
Yeah, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I know the story behind it is not. Hold on a second. I know it's not that we're trying to terraform something. The idea that they came initially was strictly colonization of something that already knew was, although a struggle, it would be survivable, livable.
Yeah.
Plant. And, Creepshow says, what I was poorly saying is if you bring an animal, it has to have multiple purposes and not just food. That's a good point too. I think that these are all good points.
and I do agree with that creep show, and that's why I was saying of when it comes to ocean life, if I can, I will.
I forget.
Yeah, but I mean, the reality of the situation is exactly what you just said. Is just because I would doesn't mean they would, and we've got to be smart about it. So, I personally would have taken every ocean animal that was there, but that doesn't mean that they would have.
So Gosi says, Kethar could have its own Jormungandr. So in the ocean is a massive serpent that's said to be so large it wraps around the entire ocean. Whether that's true or not, we don't know, but it's the tall tales. Yeah, this could go in either fauna or culture, right?
Yeah.
We're so busy asking if we could, we forgot to ask if we should. Jurassic Park. Nice one, Ghost.
That kind of is exactly my point.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I can make arguments on the other sides of those sorts of things, like if you're going to bring... The DNA bank is easy, but if you're going to bring a whale up, even in that space age, I think the engineers are going, what the hell are you doing? Do you really need to do that? You know, so there probably does have to be multiple purposes. Creepshow says. If you just want to bring a great white to see if it'll survive in waterways there, well, engineer might be like, that takes all of this water, other resources for you to get from A to B to C, you know?
When we've already run tests and know there's something along those lines already living there.
Right, yeah.
So no, you can't have it. Now I feel like I'm gonna sleep.
Yeah, and the scientists are going to have to argue for it because this was not a science expedition. This was
Colonization.
This was colonization. So it wasn't science. It wasn't terraforming. It was moving to a new place for 30,000 people.
Maybe Jormungandr was what is rumored to live underneath that layer that we haven't been able to penetrate yet.
Get notes on that. I'm gonna put that under geography. So you're saying under the whole inland sea. That could be dangerous. What are those holes? Because we're both slipping on the name. What are those holes called in like Mexico, on the Yucatan Peninsula that the Aztecs used? I think. Sacrificial area and stuff like that. Yeah, if I remember right, in that big one that we're specifically talking about, the H2S separates seawater way down at the bottom from freshwater up top. Something weird like that. But it's essentially a river of seawater underneath or something.
And you can actually see the difference.
Yeah. And you see people disappear when they swim down below the H2S layer. Try and look it up.
And maybe that's why they think they've seen something popping through there, that layer, and it's enormous, but they can't get a good look at it because it's just barely coming right underneath it and making, waves go, like this. You can kind of see the shape of this big monstrous thing underneath that layer. And then whenever people go down underneath it, they don't come back up. So it's got to be a giant monster that's under there eating things.
Awake.
I like that idea too, Golden. Golden says maybe the massive wave is what people think that the massive monster is causing the massive wave. Really like that idea.
Yeah, Creep Show found it too. Notes. Oops. Notes are what those hold.
Yeah, I saw that, but I couldn't read the word.
Yeah. How are you doing on completion? I guess you've got the other one still anyway.
I'm doing exactly what I thought would happen. What I expected was, I'll get on and I'll start slapping some paint around, and the head was going to be the hard part, and it's already done, so the rest of this is going to go fairly quickly, and it isn't. So, exactly what I expected. And hoped it wouldn't, but it is exactly
But it'll turn out wonderful.
Yes.
Crypto says, I watched something on Ancient Aliens once about cenotes. Yeah, we watch Ancient Aliens like to go to sleep sometimes and stuff.
Rewatch, not...
Yeah, rewatch, really, I guess. I don't know that I've seen them all.
I definitely have not seen them all, but I have seen a lot. I like the show.
It's fun. There's history in there in the middle bits. Oh, I gotta stretch.
My back is really hurting.
Well, anyway, I was gonna tell you, I don't know where you're at, but it's 10 till 1.
Where I'm at is this is not going to get finished today. Dialogue. There's still a lot.
So one of the interesting things from today is what's not there. Not sure I've ever put miscellaneous section and it in something. Because I always don't think of something, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it's like as vast as Geography, I can go ahead and drop in here. Oops. There are island chains. The fun thing about the island chains, of course, I mean, I can see where we could,
Music stuff.
I can see where we can make it interesting. If there was nothing on the sea. I mean, that in and of itself could be terrifying. But I kind of went with the idea that there's going to be chains of islands here and there because it's already so big. There's vast areas between all of the island chains anyway. So you can still do the same sorts of things you might do on a vast water desert. But the chains are going to be cool because we can add culture and stuff. The gaming especially, I can see where this would be a really big, fun part of the Crypt says, I love the concepts and ideas they come up with on Ancient. Yeah, me too. My tired brain, I'm struggling to remember. My favorite area is around... Oh, they got the one area that's different, the plateau that's different from the other places, and they think it was maybe hit by tidal wave. What's that part called? The Tiwanaku? Or maybe Tiwanaku is the place next.
I legitimately don't know because, again, my head is throbbing, and as the stream is going on, it's getting...
Yeah, you need to take...
Like, I can feel how tight my shoulder and back are. It's just making me head.
Yeah, anyway, I think the area that's near there is Tiwanaku, and then called this other area on the plateau is called something. But the architecture is a little different there and stuff, so it's fun. Yeah, I like the show for the same reason. The actual history that comes. They're trying to prove one thing anyway, but you learn something else about another culture process. I think our least favorite thing is they do like to say things like, this could only have been done by aliens. What? Wait a second. People could do that. You just don't understand how.
Yeah. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that we were stupid and couldn't do anything. Anyway, that's completely off.
Well, I sound like I'm dissing the show. I think aliens are mathematical probability, but the show aggravates me when they say stuff.
Early man could never have done this.
Right.
Well, we weren't morons.
Right. Kusha says, Dawn is tired of painting the dark chocolate drizzled skulls.
No, actually, I'm quite enjoying the skulls. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing much on them, but I'm actually enjoying them. And I do want to get to a certain point so I can... I'm debating whether or not to make them look burnt. I kind of like the idea of doing that. But I can't decide even if I'm going to do that until they've got all of the regular stuff done on them. That's like the last thing. Add some ash and charcoal. So no, I'm quite enjoying painting them. But
I love that and will use that. Ghosty says, denying aliens is like taking a spoonful of ocean water and denying there are whales in the ocean because there are none in your spoon. That's great.
I have heard similar comments. It is 100% like, yep.
Okay. So I think we're going to start to wrap up, Dawn.
Yes.
The things I want
hungry too.
Remind everyone, yeah, we never eat before this. There's just not enough time unless we get up earlier. So remind everybody we've got the poll open, so be sure to pop over on the poll. The link is in Discord so that you can determine or take part in determining what are we going to shoot for here. What are we going to give away when we hit 150 Twitch followers? Also, not what I wanted to show you, but it's close, so let's go. Scarecrow. Got that link I shared in Discord as well for the campfire story. A fun little bit of Halloween, but you know us, it's Halloween year. Better than Christmas, what can I say? What else, Dawn? Oh, next Saturday, we will be back, and Dawn will be, that's right, painting Ghostie's Alter the Stream Points pick. That's, is that a fit? That's Fenrir, right?
Fenrir, yeah.
The big arse Fenrir. Dawn's going to be trying something new with the magnets because it comes with optional heads. So she's going to try to do magnets so that we can use either head.
Yeah.
On this model. Next Sunday, I do not know what we will be crowd forging that out. She says, can't wait to see that. Me too. That thing is awesome. Hard to pull out of support, so I'm going to enjoy seeing it.
Yeah.
The supports on it are terrible.
Yeah, but I printed it with the pre-supported model, and it was great. Tough as shit to get out of its supports, but
the model turns out well.
Perfect print, right? So then I was like, okay, cool. I will support it myself, and failed. The body itself doesn't, it's heavy. So the pre-supported body works really well. I do want to re-support the head itself, both heads, because it is over-supported and it tends to break ears. One ear, not both, but that's okay because he's gonna have a little bit of.
It's always that ear.
Yeah. It's going to have a little scarred area right there is all I'm going to do. For other people, I reprint the head because that's what I have to do when I ship it out. But for me, I'll just make that a scar. It's not a big deal. Yeah, I haven't even started on the base color of his cloak yet. So, imagining that I would get to the second bust was a little bit of a... You have so much more faith in your ability.
Well, you were trucking along pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot done, but, I mean, his face is done. I did not expect his face to take the entire...
It looks awesome. What else? I know what else I want to say. Share this again. I can find it. So we're told that Dr. Peter J. Hackgrip is going to be sharing content from now on, occasionally. So if you enjoy Instagram, follow him there. Just, don't expect kindness from Dr. Hackgrip.
He knows what that word means and actively goes against it.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting that. But I think that's everything I had to catch up on. Do you have anything else, Dawn? Done. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Come check us out on Discord and hang out there too. And I think we're finally going to go get something to eat. Don't forget, very important, happiest day of the year tomorrow.
Enjoy your Halloween. Be safe. Eat candy.
Watch horror movies.
Watch horror movies. And if you have the ability, make and drink wassail.
Yeah. Ghosty says, been a fun one. Good day, y'all. Yep.
Yep. We'll see you soon, guys.
See you, folks.
Bye.